Once upon a time, there was a border town, and the town was on one side of the border, and the Beser Kvuris was on the other side of the border. And after the Levaya, they used to take the coffin through, and the customs people knew that the Yidden buried, that was their Beser Kvuris, and they opened up the border, and they let them through, and nothing happened. And didn't bother. Once somebody thought, a clever thing. There was things which were cheaper on the other side of the border. We'll make a levaya, and we'll smuggle through things, and we'll take through a whole coffin. They don't open a coffin. You say it's a levaya, and they let you through. Anyway, they came to the customs, and the customs man opened the coffin and found all the contraband inside, what they were trying to smuggle to the other side. And they caught the people, große Gewein and everything else, were crying because they caught, of course, not like now. But once the boys are being caught in Japan, there's a big hoo-ha and a big crying, and we're trying to raise funds, and people give money, pidgin, schwien. But they caught them. But one of the people went up to the customs officer and said, "Tell me, why did you this time open up the coffin? How comes you always let through the coffin without opening, and this time you didn't open, you opened the coffin?" He says, "The difference was you weren't crying. You're crying now. But before you cry, usually when you bring the coffin, you're crying through." There was nobody crying by the Levaya. Nobody was crying. If nobody was crying, there was something wrong with this Levaya, and that's why I opened up the coffin. And the same thing is here. We're crying now about the boys which were caught in Japan, and it's very sad, and they were stuck. And we hear about the ignorance that they didn't know where Amsterdam was, they didn't know where Japan was. I mean, maybe that's also one of the things. We should educate children a bit more about global, educating them and teaching them where the globe is and where the world is and how the globe looks and how the atlas looks. It's not really against Yiddishkeit. You don't have to be ignorant. The more ignorant you are, the more Yiddish you are. There seems to be in some societies, in our oilem, that the more ignorant you are, the cleverer they are, the more Yiddish you are. That's not true. It doesn't mean, it has got nothing to do in Yiddishkeit whatsoever. To believe in the Rebbeinu Shalom, that's the duty of a person, not the more ignorant you are. I mean, you don't have to bend down to the ways of today and go dressed in the ways of today. You're allowed to go dressed in the ways of before, of hundreds of years ago, because that's our Hasidic dress today. But we have to, knowing about things is not so gefährlich. I mean, these boys were really a bit, if you put them on the good side, they might be good misfits, because really they weren't. I don't believe that some boys can be so ignorant. But the point, what I want to make is, if we'd spent this amount of money, what about, I said to somebody here in London, spending a little amount of money on hitching, building up a proper yeshiva. The Rodonke, and whose brother Rav Weiss is so much now for it, he was a big help of the yeshiva. I mean, if you would have spent £2 million on a beautiful Hitchin yeshiva, which is outside of London, which a bucher cannot go anywhere and run around, well, I don't think it's an advisable thing to send all our buchim at a young age, at 17 or 18, to send them to Eretz Yisrael, where who knows what they do. They are really, in some yeshivas, quite hefker. I don't want to mention names, because then they'll say it's Lashon Hara. But if you look around, you know which yeshivas I mean, are quite hefker. And even to America to send them, some of these boys still need that ruche. Be careful how they run around and where they go and what they do. It needs careful. You can mix into a bad society so easy. Of course, some of the moistest are to blame, not taking a child in, giving them a stigma straight away in the beginning of life. Well, some of these manalim of these moisters have to feel very guilty out how they treat the children. Yes, I don't want my moist should be this, and I don't want my moist. But is it only that I should be somebody? Is that the whole aim of Yiddishkeit and the whole aim of life? I don't know. But somewhere along the line we've made a mistake. We're spending money now to save these boys. But how much money, if this money would have been spent, how many more boys who are today misfits in life and could have had the same end as these boys could we have saved? I don't know. I'm sure hundreds and hundreds and even maybe thousands of thousands. I think we all need to start taking. Don't look at me who says the message. Look at the message, what I'm saying. Don't wait till I'm dead in 100 years time or less to get the message what I'm telling you. Take the message now.